Welcome once again. My name is Sushil Sharma. I'm the founder of Marwadi Catalyst Ventures. I welcome all the participants once again, all the attendees for the session. Uh, it's been a wonderful pleasure for me to be a part of a discussion panel as a moderator, hosting Mahvir sir, Lalit, Mangal, and Dharam. So to start with, I just wanted to introduce the panel members. So Mahvir sir is from Mahvir Sharma ji is from Jaipur, and he is a Thai global chairman. He has been also a part of RAIN, Rajasthan Angel Investment Network, and it has been wonderful pleasure listening to him for multiple sessions. And he is the person who is behind the startup ecosystem, not only in Rajasthan but in India. And now he's been taking care of the global activity. Apart from this, one very wonderful thing is that he has been a part of one of the ventures he belongs to is events. So virtual, the new normal is one of the topics which I wanted to hear from him fantastically. The second person, the host, is Lalit Mangal. Fortunately, he's from Jodhpur and he's a part of Marwadi Catalyst Ventures. And he started a venture earlier called Common Floors, got exited, got acquired by Quicker at 1,300, 1,400 crore valuation. And now he has visualized very early that there will be a strong need of a virtual meet kind of product. He started very early, and now he's lucky enough to have at this pandemic situation. So congratulations, Lalit, and welcome on board. The third person with us is Dharam Singh. He's again from Jodhpur, the youngest among us, and done multiple startups, done very success stories. At the same time, he has learned a lot of things, ups and downs in his business. He started a venture when I introduced to him was Zorooms, and now he runs India's biggest backpacker chain called Zostels. With this, he is also angel investors to a couple of startups. There are many, so I can't name few of them. But fortunately, Lalit and Dharamveer both are advisors and investors and partners to Marwadi Catalyst Venture. So welcome you all. And our topic for today is virtual, the new normal. So, Mahvir sir, I just want your few words, introductory words about virtual the new normal. How do you see what will be the scope after this life when we are coming back to normal? Yeah.
I think we've already gotten used to this normal. I think from what we were 2 months ago in a total chaos, lockdown, fearing everything. I think when I go out in the city, we're getting used to it. Our confidence is good. We understand that this disease is not a disease that's going to take our lives. I mean, it's curable. It'll have good tough for 14 to 28 days, but it's virtually working. But having said that, that's psychologically speaking. But I think work-wise, we've also gotten used to working from home. We are thinking of not traveling. We're thinking of doing as much as we can do online, virtual meetings like this, emails and phone calls. So I think that element of even local transportation, local commute, and national, international, of course, is far away for people to do. I think this is something that we will all live with. I also feel that expenditure on office rental, office space, expenditure on corporate travels, expenditure on startups, investing in working with teams and traveling to mobilize teams or do workshops will all go down drastically. I think this is a very good sign. We will be far more productive, rather than waiting in lounges or traveling and meeting people or waiting to being there early. Now everyone is on time. I mean, I think punctuality has improved drastically. I think I've never seen. So I think all these things are excellent. I think this is the upside of this situation. I think irrespective of whether we discover a cure to this disease or not, I think this is something as a tool, as something that we will all continue to use. And I think this is very good for the environment. This is very good for the from expenses, operation cost point of view. I think it's a win-win solution. I don't see anything that's wrong with this. That's a new normal for me, and I'm very happy to be in this new normal.
So one very quick question: most of the people say that this is 2020 is a time of being passive, not aggressive by nature. So do you agree on this point?
No, I see. It's one's nature. If you are an optimist, you will always be aggressive. I mean, I've never been passive. Not on day one, not today. I'm still very aggressive. All I'm doing is changing my aggression to what will work today, what will work tomorrow. I mean, there's no reason for you to change your trait. Um, Passive meaning you will have to be careful with what you spend. That's about it. You will have to be very, very good at, but that does not mean that I've stopped investing. That does not mean that I'm not looking at new ventures and new ideas. That doesn't mean I'm not thinking of shutting down what will not work. I am already moving ahead at a very fast pace. I think I've been more busy in the last 2 months than I was before, because it's I've not had time. Productive working time has increased far more. Otherwise, I was driving in the car at the airport on waiting for someone or in a cab. Now I think the production or schools you take. I mean, I've had schools and our friends who own schools or run schools. They're far ahead of their curriculum than they were. The kids don't have to commute. Everyone, I think, aggression is a given for an entrepreneur. If someone is losing aggression because of this, I don't think he or she is an entrepreneur.
That's great. So, Lalit, coming back to you. So, you have visualized the market well before anybody else in India. You were among the first companies to start any virtual conferencing tool. We discussed almost 9 months back. That is one. Even the office you have started, I think you are the first company in India who is into complete virtual, right? So, were you prepared for such an environment first? And what is your definition? Why do you opted for a virtual event as your next, pilot project, next project for you as a ideology? Just wanted to have your inputs about it as a vision
Sure,
and as a
sure,
strategy. Yeah.
Sushil. Yeah. So I think so. One of the big learnings from my previous journey at Common Floor was that you have to, you know, pick the next tailwind. Pick the next wave which is going to become big. So it was very clear to me that remote work, even before this pandemic, and I consider myself as some sort of a global knowledge professional, and a lot of my information consumption is not just related to what's happening in India. So I was very sure that the pace at which people are preferring to go remote is going to exponentially grow, right? Even in itself, without this COVID pandemic. What COVID has done is it has just accelerated that pace, and we are now at a world where it would have taken 5 years to be at this state, but now we are like here in 3 months, right? So when we were deciding what to do next, right? So it was clear to us that let's try to be in the shoes of the customer for which we are building. So we decided to become like a fully remote company and started to visualize, what would the world look like for a remote worker? What would be the requirements for a remote worker, right? And as a remote worker, I have the flexibility to choose my place of work or choose the where I live. With that flexibility, I would quite often be away from, let's say, a big city like a Silicon Valley or a Bangalore or a Gurgaon, where a lot of these conferences are happening, right? So I would definitely start to require my own way of connecting with the world, right? My own way of connecting with, let's say, my fraternity, right? So that is where we conceptualize, there should be a better way for remote workers to start, having meetups and virtual conferences. And it just happens to be that, the entire world started to look at this format of meeting, and this is just that we found ourselves in the eye of the storm. We were early stage beta product, and then a lot of attention got us, a lot of global attention came to Airmeet, and it just grew 1,000 times just after that.
So Lalit, one very relevant question. We have been there on Airmeet. We've been experiencing it. So is it on your vision is only you have already raised a fund. That is congratulations to you. But do you have a vision to make all the virtual conferences, physical conference to a virtual, or only these meetings? Like there are handicraft exhibitions, there are other exhibition. Is the long term plan to make those companies also on a virtual board? Those events also on virtual board?
So that might be a natural side effect of what we do, but our focus is basically on knowledge events, right? So so there are two key things that are very different in the virtual format. One is that there are no frills, right? So I remember, coming at your offline event, Sushil, it was at a five-star hotel in Jodhpur, right? So I'm sure, some of the attendees might just be there because of this five-star venue, right? So virtually, you cannot provide any frills. So the takeaway has to be absolutely the information and the exchanges that happen at this event, right? So that is one very different thing about this format. The second is, in a virtual format, you don't have a captive audience. If I feel that this is starting to get irrelevant for me, I'll just quickly switch the tab. This is not the case in a physical event where I transport myself to the venue and I'm there for at least 6 to 7 hours, so I have time to kill, right? So as a company, we are focused on knowledge events, information exchanges, and as a side effect, whatever we do, people can also adopt what we are building for, let's say, virtual, let's say, expos and virtual, let's say, handicraft expos also. But we don't have a deliberate focus on that because those are the things which are best done in physical format.
Okay. One more question for you is that most of these. So Mahvir said he will be aggressive by nature, not only in terms of the activity. So, do you feel the market is going to be more aggressive and active, or you feel the market will be passive? I'm not talking from the angle of AME, but as a large. Yeah, please, Mahvir. Lalit, yeah.
Yeah. So I think virtual events are going to exponentially grow. We have already seen the kind of events that can happen, the volume of events that the virtual format can actually trigger. I think a good bulk of it was you know, uh, just out of COVID, because a lot of discussions are happening around COVID. But then people getting more comfortable with this way of interacting, this is going to open new access. For example, almost everybody on this panel is in a different city. We are able to come together, generate knowledge, or interact with each other. And if it is beautifully possible on a platform, I would say, if that is our goal, information exchange and creating knowledge, we can do it much more efficiently. You could actually reach out to the best person on that topic globally. That would actually increase the value of your event like thousand folds. And why would you want to go back to the physical format, right? So I think the information and knowledge events, they would actually exponentially grow in this format, and it is the right time for going aggressive in that category. For all other categories, I think it's probably a stopgap arrangement, and they would definitely go back to doing the.
Thank you. So I'll come back to the Dharam. So most of the people are saying that it is a very tough time for a hospitality industry, and you are one of the legendary in the market. But at the same time, most of the people say that a startup founder or a successful startup founder make worse things good for him. So now over to you for a virtual the new normal. Please go ahead with the pandemic. I just want to hear with you.
Sure. So I think, since virtual is the new normal is the topic, I would probably not dive much deeper into our physical business, but I'll just, probably share that, whenever, so right now, as soon as certain states have opened, in terms of the pandemic, the hospitality properties are back opening up. So what we are really observing is there is a larger influx of, and since maybe Zostra also catered, to really millennials and the demographic that is Sec A, largely in the tier 1 cities. And since a lot of these people are now having permission to work remotely, a lot of these people want to, really pack their bags, move from Delhi, Gurgaon, and just shift to Veer, shift to Mukteshwar for a month, for 3 weeks, etc. So, that's a larger, interesting trend that we are really catering to, in terms of work from home ki jagah, work from a hostel. And that's really the kind of travel that I always like. I always hate the kind of travel when you go and you take pictures for a weekend and then you just say that I've really traveled. That is not really traveling. You have to stay at a place for at least 3 weeks to really understand its soul. And I'm a big traveler, and I come from this philosophy that every place has certain things to say, and every place has a certain culture, that really is different, and there's so much more to learn. Even when you are in India, you go to Kerala, you go to Northeast, they live totally different. Yeah, like if you go to Northeast, they really follow a line. There's nobody else in India where we can really follow a one lane system as well, right? And obviously, not even going, outside the Indian borders. And secondly, I think tourism, and when the external people really come and explore your culture. And today, because we are in a globalized, capitalized market, is really when it is a survivability of the culture itself. If you really look at, from, let's say, the Rajasthan itself, let's say Jodhpur or Udaipur, Jaipur, it is really because of really the heritage properties that really converted into, let's say, some sort of 5-star hotels, And that is how, the staff there, it now knows much more Marwadi than, probably it would know earlier, because the people are really, if there are Britishers coming, they want to feel royal, they want to feel, however they used to feel. And it's pretty early to really say, how the hospitality is really going to shape up. But I'm really confident that, as Mahavir also mentioned, that, we are all learning that it's not that fatal. We might be able to, explore and do what we really wish to do if we take the right care, and especially for the young crowd, because we know how the ratios are, among the young crowd and the older crowd. And since hostel is much more youth in that sense, so hopefully it does good. And now I'll add to the virtual bit of, how you mentioned that, as an entrepreneur, you always look at a challenge as an opportunity. So what we have really built, over the last 2 months is that, I started off the hostel, not because of, it's just a normal, it's an interesting business model, or probably I'll make a lot of money. I really love the serendipitous conversations that happen inside a common room, inside a hostel, inside any backpacker hostel. And I personally witnessed it. I backpacked across Europe, and I was alone at a lot of places. And then I met a lot of, new people, a lot of new friends. I did not even knew that I could probably even talk with strangers that easily inside, several common rooms. And therefore, I really wanted to bring common room to India, because what I really realized was that, as young person, I was over enthusiastic, and always, seeing what the great, I see great talents around, but everybody was really focused into, I have to be an engineer, I have to be a doctor. And then, probably, so the alternate paths, unless you meet other people who are crazy enough to, really do other things, unless you travel outside your own city, it's very difficult to get that kind of exposure. And as soon as this pandemic happened, and we realized that, we won't be able to connect the youth of our country in that sense. Today we have served over 1 million customers, and a lot of them tell us that, Zostel has helped them in self-actualization, in really giving them the courage to follow what they really want to do. So we created a sort of a virtual hangout place called as zo.xyz. It's a 5-letter domain. It's still in beta. If somebody opens up, you might be able to register. But what really happens over there is, as soon as you register, you enter this common room, and it's a serendipitous conversation zone. There might be people who are there, and you might hit up a conversation, and then it's towards the passion economy. So there's a general one, then there's a music one, and press one. So I'm hopeful that it will turn out to be something interesting, and really looking at it as an opportunity to build forward. Let's see where it goes.
So great. So what I understood is that Zostel is going to be a hybrid model between the backpacker and a co-working space. So coming back to you, Mahvir sir, the one new question has started. The real estate market might go down as an office, but what is your say towards first is the incubation center or a co-working space, because that was considered to be a good hot market earlier. So from the startup perspective. Sir, your mic is off. Sir, you're not audible. Your mic is off. Mahvir sir, we can't hear you. Your mic. Hello.
So there is an unmute icon. There is an unmute icon just on the center,
Yeah.
center of the screen. Bottom center. There is a camera and mic which you can unmute.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think the internet connection is also slightly weak.
So Lalit will come back to Mahvir sir once again once his mic is on. So
Sure.
just coming back to you, what is your say on the virtual or so I said virtual the new normal. I believe that the time eventually is going to be normal. But what is your say whether the market in tier 2, tier 3 cities, because one of the topic is emerging Bharat, the different clusters at different zones. So what is your say about it? Whether this market will improve or still the start? What is your say to startups in tier 2, tier 3 cities? Yeah.
I think So first of all, I think the host of the event can actually mute Mahavir sir's camera. That might be helpful if you
Uh,
want.
yeah.
Okay, no worries. Okay, then I'll maybe answer the question. Right.
Yeah.
I think the whole virtual paradigm and remote work is a huge opportunity for people in tier two cities, because ultimately, if you are fully remote, so at AirMeet we are a fully remote team, and our team now spans across 5 countries. Right. So we have a designer from USA, engineering manager from Canada, a developer from Ukraine, another developer from Georgia, Eastern Europe, and then a good number of people from India, right? So you are a totally different beast if you are a fully remote company or a fully remote organization. You can actually, uh, if you are building the right product, if you are gaining customer love, I think you can totally expand to the global audience out there without any physical hurdle, and your mindset also totally changes if you are a fully remote organization. So I would say this is a great opportunity to leverage.
Okay, and one more question, this which was a part of a first panel, which was a mobilization of human resource from international to tier two, tier three cities. What is your say on that? Although this was an earlier session, but I just want to have your takes on this.
Yep, I think so. Almost everybody who is on our team in India, from India, they were working at a big city. People from Gurgaon, Bangalore, and Chennai, and they all moved back to smaller cities. So someone who was working in Gurgaon went back to Udaipur. Someone from Bangalore went back to Ahmedabad, right? So people would love this opportunity to pick remote work and go back to their hometown, or go back to a hostel or a very exotic location where they can spend time, connect with nature, find their own self, and also work at a very good salary and a very good pace, right? So I would say this is a great opportunity. And I would, if you are an entrepreneur in tier 2 city, I think just visualize yourself as a fully remote organization, and change your thought process like that. And if you are a techie or a talented professional in a tier 2 city, I think leverage platforms like TopTal, Upwork to gain more and more visibility in the global knowledge marketplace, and you can actually grow independently. So one of our video editors is out of Jodhpur, right? And he is doing extremely good stuff, right? And
Okay,
it hardly matters whether he's from Jodhpur or Bali, Indonesia, right? He just has to deliver over the internet, and he makes money.
great. So wonderful. So Dharamveer, so when I'm going in market, when I'm going traveling, so Mavi sir, are you there? Are you back?
Yeah, yeah. Acha,
So
Mahvir.
yeah, just hold on. Mavi
Yeah,
sir,
yeah.
are you
Let's see,
back?
let's see.
Okay, so Dharamveer, what we say is that when I go in the market now after this unlock, I feel that India is going to be normal the same way we were earlier. So same way is in Jaipur. So do you agree, and do you want that everything should be normal what it was going on earlier? Or you still believe that it should be more of a virtual the new normal? I just wanted to say your
Yeah,
opinion on it.
I'll just add, maybe a bit deeper on it. See, as Lalit also mentioned, see, there were already tailwinds. All right, so virtual started off with the internet itself. If you, as soon as you get a domain, airmeet.com, marwadicatalyst.com, you have already started building your virtual space. All right, and I'm a younger generation, so I never got my own dharamveer.com. Okay, I was already late. मतलब एक तो वर्चुअल रियल एस्टेट है, उस वर्चुअल रियल एस्टेट में भी अमेरिकन ने सारे डोमेन ले लिए। ठीक है, मतलब हमारे इंडियन वर्ड के भी सारे डोमेन जा चुके हैं। ठीक है, तो वर्चुअल स्पेस के अंदर भी आई थिंक देयर वाज अ लिमिटेशन दैट वाज गोइंग ऑन। सो व्हाट हैज रियली हैपेंड इन दिस पैंडेमिक, वो जो धीरे धीरे से चल रहा था, जिस चीज में 15 साल लग रहे थे, वो लिटरली 5 महीने में वो एक बार एक्सेलरेट हो गया। एंड आई एम अ गीक, सो हम तो वही 1-2% में से, आई वाज ऑलवेज वर्चुअल, वी ऑलवेज हैड स्लैक, आई लव बीइंग वर्चुअल। मेरे को जो पूरा टाइम बच रहा है, एंड लिटरली प्रोडक्टिविटी इंक्रीज, नो रैंडम मीटिंग्स। ऑलराइट, एंड वेयर आई रियली सी इज कि इट इज जस्ट अ स्टार्टिंग। वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आवर माइंड्स ऑलवेज थिंक वेरी इजीली कि ओ इतना ज्यादा वर्चुअल हो गया। ठीक है, बट वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड इट्स लिटरली नथिंग व्हाट द फ्यूचर होल्ड्स। फ्यूचर में आई रियली सी फेसबुक सेलिंग अस रियल एस्टेट ऑन द फेसबुक प्लेटफॉर्म, वर्चुअल रियल एस्टेट के हम पैसे दे रहे हैं असली जमीन बेच के। ठीक है, एंड आई सी ये जेंजी मिलेनियंस को घर खरीदने नहीं है, इनको गाड़ियां खरीदनी नहीं है। ठीक है, इट्स अ टोटली डिफरेंट वे, एंड द जनरेशंस थिंक वेरी डिफरेंटली। सो इट्स जस्ट स्टार्टिंग, वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड। अभी तक वीआर आया नहीं है, द वर्चुअल रियलिटी जिसको हम कहते हैं virtual reality tech, it has not hit masses. All right, the only thing that is virtual right now is my audio. All right, and that really transports me itself. Audio hai, thoda video. It's really the initial stages. So I'm pretty much excited, and I think, as you said, यार इंडिया में अब जैसे नॉर्मल होना होगा, बट वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड एक तो पेंडेमिक है, दूसरा इकोनॉमी की भी बैंड बजी है. ठीक है, so there's also this aspect that there's a consumer aspect to it, that people will have a bit less spending power, etc. So let's see how things go up. We don't cater to a lot of big market, right? So we have a lot of fans, but we have only 2000 beds. So India इतना बड़ा है कि मतलब हमारे business पे शायद impact नहीं आएगा, but वही सारे मतलब those are the things to look. Behaviorally we will turn normal, but as we have now learned कि यार कि शायद corporate travel में इतना खर्चा नहीं करना है, शायद रियल एस्टेट के अंदर यार कंपनी में पैसे बचा सकते हैं तो बचा लेते हैं. So all of those things are going to happen, and hopefully I want people to be normal, at least get that courage to go out. For me, being normal is कि यार I can leave my house, and then comes the second aspect that I can enter anybody else city, then probably somebody else house, Airbnb, etc. So that's where I see things shaping up.
So according to what I have understood is that you are saying that market is going to be normal, but because what you have learned in this pandemic situation, or maybe in this period, will be more virtual, or we will be very choosy and will be focused. That is what
We
you
have
wanted
learned,
to say.
that whole 5-year progress that was slowly going to learn. So it is just the technology is inevitable. All right, sooner or later we all had to come here, but wo jo acceleration aaya hai, there's nothing better, and then some will take advantage, and I think technology usually does more good than harm, right? So people will make benefit out of it.
So Lalit, I just want to have your view also on the same point, because that's very important, because whether this situation will be normal, but most of the people will be working remotely. What's your say on that?
I think so. When we say work remotely, it doesn't necessarily mean work from home, because it is actually important for us to go out, step out, and work out of co-working spaces or cafes, right? Because there is a certain impact on the productivity and the mindset if basically change your space, right? So that will definitely, when I say, when we come into normal again, that would be one immediate thing where you start going out of your homes, start working out of, let's say, your existing offices or co-working spaces. But the remote work adoption that has happened, when I say remote work, that you don't have to be co-located, which means that if let's say I was an engineer in a Paytm, i I don't have to necessarily go to the Paytm office, traveling, let's say, 2 hours from, let's say, Gurgaon to Noida, right? I can be working very comfortably out of my the walking distance co-working space that I have, and I could be delivering very easily, because my whole team has sort of gotten used to working remotely, right? So that new adoption of remote work, where you don't necessarily have to have a colleague just next to you, you can tap their shoulder and talk to them, that necessarily would not be coming back.
Okay, great. So Lalit, one important point of here. What exactly is AirMeet? How is it different from other products? That's my question to you.
Yeah, so if you look at AirMeet uh, is an end-to-end tool for organizing knowledge events, right? So if you were to do this on Zoom, it would have taken you a lot of hassle, right? To manage all these sessions, have a good chat, have a very in-person feel, a very well coordinated experience. So AirMeet is basically a specialized tool for conducting virtual events. And right now we are catering to small meetups and, let's say, mini conferences. But as the product is evolving, we will be catering to multi-day parallel track conferences as well. And we are adding newer and newer virtual formats of event. For example, I think coming to releases, we will be releasing a speed networking format as well, where people who are at this conference, they could just speed networking with everybody else out there, right? So we are just focused on events, and we believe that remote work is going to create the need of a new global social ecosystem, where irrespective of where I am, I should be able to expand my professional network through AirMeet.
Okay, great. Dharam, what is Jostle, and how it makes different, and what's new coming in it, Jostle?
See, as I mentioned, so abhi to obviously, there are interesting products from the physical space as well. We are coming up with in Pune as well. So we largely see, as we said that Lalit also said that you remote is not just work from home. You might need a professional setup to be productive itself. And because the real estate, as we talk about that, see, the real estate in cities might go down, but it gives us a great opportunity because it's hostel. We pick up real estate that is barely, that is really not, that's really cheap, in terms of outside the cities, near a mountain, near a river. And with our infrastructure capabilities, we convert it into a revenue generating source, right? And now these days, in the product itself, we are integrating, let's say, a co-working space beneath the hostel itself. So, you can sleep over there, you can work then, you can travel around, be close to the nature. I think अभी तो मतलब there is a latent demand कि यार we have been so much locked down, as our natural creatures. We are not concrete animals, and I live in Gurgaon. It's like it's a whole concrete city in itself, right? So I think those are a couple of interesting things that's happening. And maybe whenever is your next conference happening, maybe when I can elaborate a bit more on how we are building the zoo world. But the idea of our building this whole zoo world that I mentioned at zoo.xyz is that really bring people together from different regions across the country first, and then we'll probably see how it goes forward. But really bring them together to establish. So when I talk about travel, right? So if I say that let's go to Mukteshwar, let's go to Veer, and my larger philosophy that there are at least 1,000 destinations in India. We are just barely connecting the road infrastructure for these destinations to unlock. India has always lacked the supply side problem. We never had hostels, so people did not used to backpack. But everybody used to tell me that, hey, India, mein, the girls don't like solo backpacking. Why would they travel? It's so unsafe. See, you create safe environment, so people will come. Like, I always feel that India is very large. We should not be very limited from the demand aspect. We should first create quality supply. Nobody is creating quality supply and, blaming, places around. So now when I look at, over last 8 years, what I've really learned about travel is that, see, it's really not about building a hotel in a place. It's really not about building a hostel in a place. What you really need is a friend. All right. So if there is a friend in Antarctica and he tells me, "Yeah, DV, यहाँ पे आजा, यहाँ पे मस्त मैं तेरा सब जुगाड़ कर दूंगा," right? And it ends for me, right? As soon as I have a friend at any place, whether it is in Jodhpur, whether it is in San Francisco, I really don't care about what is, how am I going to hotel, मेरी cab कैसे होगी, etc. I know that there is a friend I can call and ping, and maybe he'll just make sure that I'm there. So now in our next phase of the next decade of growth for Zostel, what we are really focused is on making it people first. That there are destination hosts at a place who really care about your travel. We have built all of those tools to empower those individuals to understand. So I've, as in Zorooms also, I've built a large marketplace driven distributed marketplace. So I understand how marketplaces work, and it is never really about hiring people and just placing them. It is about guiding them and giving them the right KPIs, giving them the right tools to do their work. So those are the interesting things that we are doing. And along with that, we really accelerated our digital serendipitous environment. So what there are similar small games. So there is a game called as Mafia. That is it, mafia.zo.xyz, if any of you guys will go to. So what really happens over there is the eight or nine of us come together. We sit on a table and our audios are connected, and two of us are Mafia who know each other, but others don't know. And then there are rounds every 5 minutes. We keep killing each other. So these are just those serendipitous, small sessions, ice-breaking sessions that we used to do inside Zostel common room, right? To help people introduce each other. And now we have taken this opportunity in the pandemic to really build a digital product out of it, and see how it goes, right? So that's those are a couple of interesting things.
So coming to the last end questions to both of you.
Yeah, Yashraj has played it
70.
at Dharamshala, and he's telling that it was one hell of a night. So that's the kind of thing, and I think that today, if you understand Mafia, you can really virtualize it. If there is a share screen, I could possibly also show later on in the in the meeting how we have done it. But it's really fun, and I'm sure that it will be interesting, when people are. They made
So
lifelong friends also there. Sorry.
yeah. So Dharamveer and Lalit, I think this is one of the sessions where we have the most experienced startup founder who have raised funds, who know, who I consider as visionaries in terms of startup. And as our 70% of the attendees are startup founders, so what well, Lalit has already started the product, but what is your single point suggestion to startup founder? Start with Lalit and then to Dharamveer. So I think we'll close the session. This is the last question. So what is your intakes to the startup founders specifically who are doing, or if anybody is looking for a new industry, what is your suggestion for a new upcoming industries? Over to you, Lalit.
So I think if you're doing a startup, I think my one line suggestion would be that you be super focused on understanding your customer profile, right? And so like Dharamveer also is the persona which he's building for. He loves to meet new people. He loves to make new friends, right? So it is very natural for him to now think about what is the best experience to provide for somebody like him, right? And then it becomes a good product, and then it starts to propagate, right? So and same is the case with the whole team at Airmeet. We are like fully remote workers, and we just live and breathe our product. So anybody who is starting a company or any business, right? Try to be as close as to the customer, if possible you be the customer yourself, right? And that would be a very short way of creating a good product, right? Yeah, that would be my just 2 cents.
Uh, Dharamveer, yeah, please.
Let's say I think Lalit has added great that you have to understand product, and I think Mahvir also said, see, if you give a lot of insights then people might also get confused, but I think there is a optimism. I think even in this pessimistic environment, when people might come and say that hey, this is not a time to do business. I hear a lot of traditional businesses and traditional entrepreneurs telling that this is the time to sit on cash. जिसके पास में अभी cash है वही राजा है, ठीक है, and you should probably sit on cash, wait for some deals to come out, and then see how things come up. But अब entrepreneur के पास तो कोई पैसे हैं नहीं और कुछ है नहीं आप लोगों के पास तो, but I'll probably extend, and maybe Mahvir is also joined so he can say, but I think that there is optimism if you understand that where and what are really your skills that might be really useful in these upcoming new times when virtual might be the new normal. But I'm just saying that virtual was always there. Virtual was always there. That's why Lalit already had a product. It was already going in that pace of 2 to 5%. Now it's accelerated to 20%, and there is nothing cheaper. Startup is technically associated largely with internet only these days. There was a time when there were startups which were building maybe hardcore things, but that startup comes with that 10x scale. यार ऐसा कैसे हो कि भाई 10x ही हो जाए जल्दी, right? So if you look at that kind of a word or startup, there is no better distribution than internet. So think through, be creative, and I'm sure there are Jio है, अब Facebook भी Jio के साथ है, तो interesting things going to happen in India, and build on this mobile internet infrastructure, and good luck to everyone who's building it.
Okay, so Mahvir sir, welcome back. So we have been
Sorry,
missing you
my
from.
Wi-Fi. I think it's my Wi-Fi issue. Sorry, Anji.
So, Mahvir sir, I think we've been missing an very important point of view. One is to the budding startup founders, what is the role of TIE for them? Because most of the people do not understand what TIE can play a role for them. That is one. And whether they should join it, how they can join it, one important component. And then your viewpoint for the startup founders, as which industries and after COVID they should focus. With this, we'll end up the session. Yeah, please.
Okay, sure. First of all, apologies. It was my internet connection, I think, and that's what caused the whole problem. So, TIE, as you know, is a non-profit promoting entrepreneurship. I think startups should be part of it. Getting mentored from successful people